Namaste everyone. Hello. How are you all doing? Long time. Well, short time. Time is nothing for us anymore, right? We meet, we talk, we connect. The energy is there everywhere. You're experiencing that bliss. Then time doesn't really matter, and space doesn't really matter. You're somewhere very far away. I'm here, but yet we feel one, and that is the beauty of Sookshma. We transcend the space and time, and we experience that oneness of pure energy everywhere. Well, you probably heard it. We were at Banyan Books yesterday. A phenomenal workshop. The space, of course, itself is beautiful. As I was talking at Banyan, the tree under which the great Buddha attained enlightenment, we were in some space like that. But then, of course, we had an incarnation of Buddha in Master Sunita, who gives that experience of the subtlest of the subtle, which Buddha was talking about. That Buddha which is there in you, which is there in every human being. That experience which Buddha attained, enlightenment, is what you get in the presence of this ancient sage. And of course, it is not my talk. You have been hearing my talk. We have heard every single individual who have come to the workshop yesterday speak about it, vibrate with it. We have seen people's faces transform in front of us, glowing, glittering joy, and everyone coming and talking about it. And they were so excited. And of course, we have this beautiful workshop coming up on November 10th. It's a deep immersion. Yesterday at Banyan event, it was a slightly simpler version. Of course, all the workshops of Sunita are simpler. When I say simpler, shorter in time, it was just sitting, meditation, very casual setup. But on November 10th, you will get an opportunity to deeply immerse and experience what we call eternal ecstasy. Look at the title of the workshop. Of course, Master chooses all these beautiful titles, and it's not just the words, the floweriness of the words, but there is depth to that. Eternal ecstasy is the workshop on November 10th that is happening in Burnaby from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You can finish off all your duties, responsibilities in the day, in the beginning of the day. You can eat your lunch and then just come down so that you can immerse yourself in these pure vibrations. In fact, I'll give you a quick glimpse of what this ecstasy is. Ecstasy, of course, just resonates with something very pleasurable, very memorable in our life, right? We want to experience that ecstasy in every possible way, every moment in our life. In fact, the purpose of life, I think everybody is running after that ecstasy today. That permanent bliss, that permanent joy, that feeling of ananda, which ancient wisdom calls. But the problem is, we are looking for that in the wrong place, because we never been told or advised or guided by anyone. We take these senses, this outer five senses, the eyes, the tongue, the ears, the skin, the sound, and the pleasure that we derive from indulging in those sensual experiences, we mistake for ecstasy. That is just pleasure. And unfortunately, the pleasure doesn't last. Pleasure is always followed by, pain. So pleasure is just an interval between two pains. And yet we run after that pleasure from senses. And the problem is, senses cannot constantly give that bliss or joy or ecstasy. Senses will get tired because they are based off the physical body, right? Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas. That is what ancient wisdom calls. So they will get tired. So you will never be happy with that pleasure, and there will be this lacuna, and you go after that again and again. And of course, that is what leads to addiction of relationships, addiction of people, addiction of drugs, addiction of food, addiction of all kinds of things. And in this process, we lose ourselves. So dears, that is not ecstasy, that is just pleasure which lasts only temporarily. There is a third dimension in us which is beyond the senses. In fact, Sunita Amma calls that inner senses, inner hearing, inner taste, inner eye, inner sight, inner touch. When you get in touch with your true self, then you don't depend on these outer anymore. I'm not saying we should shut away these outer senses. We still need, of course, the outer senses for our day-to-day duties. But you will not depend on them. You will depend on that inner pure self, which is an epitome of ecstasy. And that ecstasy is eternal. It is there for you anytime you want to dive into. You can feel that probably now. I am experiencing that ecstasy, that eternal ecstasy. Even just talking about it, thinking about it, because I have become an embodiment of ecstasy. You can also become an embodiment of ecstasy. Then you may ask, why do I need to feel this ecstasy, Suman? Good question, right? First, most of us are suffering from physical, mental, emotional illnesses. When you experience the subtlest of the subtle, pure ecstasy, phenomenal healing will happen. All these trillions of cells in the body start to sprout nicely. Like when we put these little seeds for sprouting, like that the cells start to sprout. All your illnesses will run away, first thing. Next, the fears, dears. Biggest problem is we're all living in this fear. The biggest fear, of course, is the fear of death. Fear of another person, fear of relationships, fear of job, fear of that, fear of this. We will become fearless. Don't you want that? We all want that. We want to live free. We want to live in bliss and happiness and joy without any fear. So there won't be any entanglements once you experience that ecstasy, because you're always in that fullness. You don't depend on the outer world or the outside. You will stop yearning to give love or to receive love, because you have become an embodiment of that love, which is ecstasy. And there is, of course, phenomenal other benefits which I want you to directly experience on November 10th in Burnaby from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the presence of this ancient sage Sunita. I look forward to see you all. We have the tickets available online. Go to peacetree.ca website, or you can always send me a message on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You know my email. Always there to reach out. So see you all to experience the eternal ecstasy together. Namaste and thank you very much.